Are you afraid of dentists? Well, you don't have to be. But had you lived several centuries earlier, you would certainly have become fearful of them. In this episode of How It Was, we will talk about the history of dentistry. You will learn in what bizarre ways the dental caries was treated, how dentists left Louis XIV without teeth and broke the jaw of Catherine II, how people brushed their teeth in the Middle Ages, and why doctors advise patients to rinse teeth with urine. We will also tell you who invented dental prosthetics, what dentures were made of in the 18th century, and why women of the Russian Empire blackened their teeth on purpose. But first, please click the subscribe button so you don't miss our new episodes. Fighting a toothache has always been one of the most urgent tasks of healers in any society. Today, the primary method of caries treatment is the removal of affected tissue and tooth restoration with filling material. But in ancient times, the procedures were quite different. Ancient pagan sorcerers put a spell against toothache. Early Christian healers recommended praying to Saint Apollonia of Alexandria, a martyr who had all of her teeth pulled violently out. Tooth filling was slowly introduced into dental practice. The ancient Egyptian dentists adopted a method of filling teeth with gold, evidence of which was obtained from some mummies of Thebes. Archigenes of Syria, who practiced medicine in Rome during the reign of the Emperor Trajan, 2nd century AD, found that a tooth that ached violently could be relieved by opening into the pulp canal. According to medical texts, the first known dental amalgams were employed in China during the Tang dynasty in the 7th century AD. An alloy made from tin and silver was used to restore decayed tooth structure. But in the West, the progress was slow. In medieval Europe, there was a strong belief that tooth decay was caused by toothworms. They were thought to gnaw the teeth from the inside. The cure for toothworms was inhaling the smoke of burned henbane seeds. In the 15th century, priest-physician Andrew Boord described another deworming technique for the teeth. Make a candle of wax with henbane seeds and light it, and let the perfume of the candle enter into the tooth and kill them on your nail. Only in the 15th century, the Italian surgeon Giovanni Arcolani recommended the filling of teeth with gold fillings. Alas, not everyone adopted his experience, and the belief of toothworms persisted through the 17th century. However, gradually, dental drills have become an indispensable tool for tooth treatment. At first, teeth were drilled by hand, until in the 18th century the French dentist Pierre Fauchard, who is acknowledged as the father of modern dentistry, and other dental surgical instruments. Then in 1864, British dentist George Harrington invented the clockwork drill, and in 1875 the first electric drill was patented. Louis XIV's physician Antoine Daquin was a proponent of the theory of toothworms. It was he who, in 1682, convinced the monarch to get rid of the fictional parasites by pulling out all of his teeth affected by caries. Arabic doctors in the first millennium used arsenic for killing the inflamed dental nerve. After the 12th century, this method was successfully practiced by some European dentists. Aulus Cornelius Celsus, one of the greatest Roman medical writers whose works were published in Europe only in the 15th century, recommended removing diseased teeth and loosening them before extraction so that the jaw wouldn't suffer during the operation. Antoine Daquin did not support such methods, and Louis XIV's teeth were torn without anesthesia. The physician damaged his jaw with forceps so severely that a piece of bone was torn off. As a result, a fistula formed between the king's nose and mouth. As a result, he could not drink a drop of liquid without the fluid flowing out of his nose. The Russian Queen Catherine II also became a victim of dentists. Arriving in Russia, she lost 5 teeth in 2 or 3 years. She described in detail having one of her teeth removed. Borgraf was holding me on one side, Cheglukova on the other, and the surgeon Gion pulled out my tooth. But the minute he pulled, blood gushed out of my mouth and tears came from my eyes. Together with the tooth, a piece of my gum was ripped off the bone. All 5 of Mr. Gion's fingers were imprinted on my cheek for a long time in the form of blue and yellow spots. As we can see, things were not so good with dentistry. What about oral hygiene? Contrary to popular belief, not all Europeans had bad teeth. People tried to take care of their teeth long before the appearance of a toothbrush in 1780. The early toothbrushes were made from bone handles with natural boar bristles. The fact is that sugar, which provokes caries, remained a luxury item until the 19th century and was available only to the rich. The 12th century German Abbess Hildegard of Bingen recommended rinsing the mouth several times a day with clean cold water. The Salerno Health Code of 1480 recommended brushing teeth in the morning. Before that, people used a wooden toothpick, a thick thread, a stick of soft wood frayed at one end, a piece of linen, a sponge, or their finger. Most of the recommendations for those times for dental care today look very reasonable. After each meal, rinse your mouth with clean water and wipe your teeth with a napkin or sponge. The remnants of food stuck in the teeth were taken out with a toothpick. Ointments made from medicinal plants and rinsing the mouth with herbal decoctions were recommended for strengthening the gums. In attempting to freshen their breath, the poor chewed aromatic herbs. The wealthy used cinnamon, mint, or sage lozenges for this purpose. Until the 18th century, dentistry was primarily concerned with removing teeth because of pain. Barbers and craftsmen pulled teeth in public places and at fairs. Some physicians advise patients to rinse their teeth with fresh urine. This recipe for teeth whitening is known since ancient Roman times, and already in the enlightened 18th century, it was recommended by the already mentioned Pierre Fauchard. There is a grain of reason in this advice. Urine contains ammonia, which has good cleaning properties, but the method, frankly, is not a pleasant one. Other doctors advised rinsing teeth with wine and even vinegar. Imperfect and even dangerous dental treatment methods made people in the ancient times think about prosthetics. A loose tooth was tied to a healthy by a thread or wire. Some women of fashion tried to disguise the lost teeth with pieces of cloth. In the Muscovite Kingdom and later in the Russian Empire, women blackened their teeth until the 18th century, perhaps to hide their rotting teeth, but no less likely to show bad teeth appearance because dental caries were significantly related to eating sweets. The latter in those days indicated high social status. And if there were no teeth to hide anymore, they used dentures. For this purpose, wood, bone, teeth of certain animals, and human teeth were used since ancient times. But such artificial teeth were inconvenient and their service life was short. A breakthrough in prosthetics was made by the very same Pierre Fauchard. In 1747, on the Rue de Cordelia in Paris, he set up a reception room equipped with an armchair, mirrors, lamps, and a laboratory with a workshop to manufacture dentures. He invented and described a range of artificial dentures for parts of teeth and complete replacement of teeth. As far as possible, he made prostheses from the patient's teeth and from bovine and ivory. Such prostheses, by the way, were later used by George Washington. But before making the denture, the bone had to be bleached, and it was a long process. First, the bone was boiled, then it was alternately immersed in water and exposed to air for 12 days. Finally, to give the artificial teeth a natural shade, Fauchard covered them in caps from thin gold plate, on which a layer of baked porcelain enamel was applied. Next, the dentures were fixed with pins, or, if the patient had adjacent teeth, they were tied to them with a wax silk thread. Fauchard even suggested strengthening several interconnected teeth on 1 or 2 pins. That is, he created a prototype of modern dental bridges. Special prostheses were made for VIP clients. For example, the hippopotamus bone, denser and more wear-resistant than the elephant bone and much better suited for prosthetics. Such prostheses were very expensive. They could only be afforded by members of high society and royal family. Even today, prosthetics remain a costly pleasure. Please take care of your teeth and visit your dentist regularly. And of course, if you enjoyed watching this video, please click the like button and share it with your friends.